Third down and a yard in the overtime. Mahomes is going to run at 30-yard line, 25-20. Mahomes down to the 13-yard line.
You go! You go!
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Happy Tuesday. I'm Hayley Lewis, and this is Chiefs News Daily. We got a special interview today as the Chiefs do not have media availability on Tuesdays with a normal Sunday game. So we are talking to 49ers beat reporter Tracy Sandler, joining us to tell us all the insight coming out of San Francisco, as well as what you should expect from the Super Bowl rematch. But first, like and subscribe right here on the KCSN YouTube channel, and let's get into it. Tracy, it is the Super Bowl rematch. This is one that, even though the players never admit that they have one circled on their calendar, you know without a doubt that going back into this one, Chiefs versus the Niners, and it's going to be on the road for Kansas City. It's a big one. Go ahead and give us the overall vibes. How is it feeling in San Francisco? You know, you're at those press conferences, you're in the locker room. How is the team feeling right now?
Well, it was actually interesting. Trent Williams got asked about it after the Seattle game Thursday night, and he made a comment that I think on the one hand is true, and on the one hand, there's probably still a little extra oomph behind this one. But he said it's not going to make up for losing the Super Bowl. He said that ship has sailed. So in that way, he is correct. But I think the bigger issue for San Francisco is they have to get this Chiefs monkey off their back. They have not beaten the Chiefs in a very long time, dating back to, I want to say, 2018.
I think it's been over 10 years. Yeah, it's a while.
And they've had bad things happen. In 2018, Jimmy Garoppolo tears his ACL in the Chiefs game. We lose to them in the next year, I guess the next season year, not calendar year, but they lose them next year in the Super Bowl. Then in 2022, they lose them at Levi's. Then they lose in the Super Bowl last year. So they got to get this Chiefs monkey out their back. I just think that's really difficult because Patrick Mahomes. So that is my feeling on that. But I think the vibe is they're going to say it's just another game. It obviously isn't going to make up for the Super Bowl. But I think there would be a level of confidence if they can beat this Chiefs team. If the 49ers were to get to the Super Bowl again, if the Chiefs were to get to the Super Bowl again, at least they beat them once. Because otherwise it becomes like a thing. Yep. The 49ers had trouble playing in Minneapolis. They played terrible in Minneapolis. It becomes like a thing. They're having trouble in the red zone. I almost think this red zone thing is becoming like a thing. They were able to score a couple times in the red zone the other day. But these things kind of life of their own. They got to figure out a way to beat the Chiefs. I'm just not sure it's going to be.
Hey, I mean, I understand that. It's kind of like it's their kryptonite, right? And you mentioned the long drought. I looked it up, and it was 10 years. That's when Kaepernick and Alex Smith, and I at first was like, no, let me fact check that. That can't be accurate. But it is crazy. So it's been quite a long time, and they do so, now injury ridden. And so this is a very tough time, especially, Kansas City, they've lost 3 offensive key weapons, but, the 49ers seem like every single week it's another headline with another injury. How do they overcome that? Do they have enough depth? Get us up to date on, Christian McCaffrey, even his backup is now hurt. So what's going on?
Well, I think Jordan Mason's going to be day-to-day this week, so we'll have a little more information. In the Monday bonus practice, he was on the field, probably on a limited basis, but he was at least out there, and I think that's a good sign. It's usually a good sign. But I think it's a sprained AC joint, which, listen, you and I are not playing with a sprained AC joint, but Jordan Mason potentially will. So I think, like I said, he's day-to-day, so we'll get a little more information as the week goes on. Christian McCaffrey, they're not opening up his practice window. I don't think we see Christian McCaffrey before the bye week because it's the Chiefs, the Cowboys, and then the bye. So I can't imagine there's any real reason, to be honest. If they're not going to open it this week, why would you open it next week and then go on a bye? That's just my opinion. They are ramping him up. They're ramping up the rehab. They're ramping up the conditioning. So it could be wrong on that. It just feels to me like we wouldn't see him before then. And then we see, I asked Kyle Shanahan a couple weeks ago, is there a chance Christian won't play this season? And he said, not that I know of, which is not a ringing endorsement. So, we'll kind of have to see. But that would be my feeling on Christian McCaffrey. But yes, Jordan Mason, the sprained AC joint, Malik Mustafa, they're already light at safety. He's another one who got hurt the other night in the game. day-to-day. There's a lot of day-to-day going on in the 49ers. So much day-to-day, but kind of the bigger news of the week. I don't think we'll see him play Sunday, but Ricky Pearsall's practice window was open. He participated in Monday's bonus practice. Last week, Kyle Shanahan said he would imagine there'll be a longer ramp-up period just because really he's not practiced or played. But I think it does give the building a little bit of energy.
Yeah.
And adds a little something for everybody. And they're coming off this one in Seattle, but they're like the day-to-day 49ers. That's kind of what I'm calling them.
You know when you discover a new binge-worthy show or a song that you bump on repeat and you have to share it with your friends so they can experience just how awesome it is? That's kind of what it feels like when you discover Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. That's such an awesome deal, there's no way you can keep it to yourself. Friends don't let friends overpay for wireless. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plan and switch to Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you and your squad with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/KCSNCND. That's mintmobile.com/KCSNCND. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/KCSNCND. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
The San Francisco 49ers, I'm sure that they have a certain way that they view Mahomes, but it seems like the rest of the league just likes to plug him in that villain role that he plays. Is that the same feeling for the Niners, or are they more of just, this is the guy that's a thorn in our side?
I don't think they've put him in the villain role. Diamador Lenore said something interesting to me before the Super Bowl last year when we were at media availability. And he said, he grew up watching Tom Brady and in his head wanting to be the GOAT. Yeah. And I asked him, well, you did, because they beat Tampa. And he said, yes, but not in the Super Bowl. And now we have the new GOAT, is basically what he said, the new Tom Brady. And we want to beat him. And so I think they have a tremendous respect for him. I don't think it's a villain thing, but tremendous respect in wanting to be able to beat him. And he's really, really tough to beat. And it's a somewhat banged up defensive line. So they've had this mini bye, which certainly will help. But they have the Chiefs coming off a bye. So there's that. But they've had a somewhat beat up defensive line. Now, that being said, Nick Bosa had an incredible game on Thursday night. It doesn't show up in the stat in terms of sacks, but I believe he had 14 pressures on Geno Smith, and he was wreaking havoc in the game. Diamador Lenore has become one of the top corners in the league. Of course, Charvarius Ward is healthy, and he was a game-time decision Thursday. Yeah. We'll see how the week goes, but my sense is that if he can play, he'll play on Sunday, definitely.
Yeah.
But, it's tough. Mahomes is, what Bosa said this about Kyler Murray earlier in the season. He's tough to catch. And Mahomes is tough to catch. And he's not tough for the pass catchers, but tougher for them to catch. And so I think for them, it's maybe more sword in their side, but also respect that he's one of the best in the game, or the best in the game right now to do it. And can they figure out a way to slow him down and stop him? Because thus far this season, no one has. And really, yes, they're 5-0 this season, but they haven't lost a game in a really long time because they won the Super Bowl. So yeah, back to last season. So no one has found a way yet. Can they be the ones to do it this time?
Excited to see what happens. I mean, it's kind of, for me, I just feel like we'll just wait and see. You would think Andy Reid's record is great after the bye, but you just never know when you put these two teams on the field. So Tracy, appreciate your time as always. And thanks so much for giving us your insight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, that does it for another episode of Chiefs News Daily. As always, like and subscribe right here on the KCSN YouTube channel. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you back here on Wednesday.